I'm in here wide awake because I made the mistake of going down to Starbucks and getting me a big ass cup of this was full of black tea, and because it's not anymore, I'm now awake, wide awake. Everybody drink your water. Anyway, so I figured since I'm still up, I'm gonna make you guys some more videos. So what should I video about right now? What's been on my mind is forgiveness. I know you're probably like, dang, her videos is hella random. They be all over the place, but they're random and they're all over the place because that's kind of how my brain works. Sorry, guys. It's kind of random and all over the place. But, yeah, so I just think I want to tell you a quick story time about forgiveness. So I hope y'all ready. So, once again, I'm going to talk to you a little bit about how I grew up. So, I grew up in Vallejo, California, raised by my grandparents. My dad was in the house with us when he wasn't in jail, kind of with the shenanigans and shit. My mom, I lost her early, so I wasn't privy to her shenanigans, I guess if you could say privy, whatever. But, yeah, so basically what kind of took place was my dad was my grandma who raised me. That was his mom. My dad was kind of like that dude in the house. He was that guy. I called him Kevin. My dad's name was Kevin. So I called him Kevin. I remember one time when I was little, I had built up my courage, and I was like, I'm gonna call him Dad because I want to call him Dad like everybody else calls their dad's dad. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna call him Dad, and I freaking went and like, hey, Dad, and he didn't answer me. Clutching my pearls. I low-key never. I don't think I never called him Daddy again until I was grown, and I'll get to that later. But yeah, I mean, I lived in a situation where my dad was a heroin addict. I don't know if any of you guys was raised in a house with drug addicts. Like, that shit is not a game. Like, there was times where we didn't have fucking food and shit. Like, I remember one time my dad got mad at my grandma, and she didn't have no money. We was broke. We was on retirement income. So, my dad, he basically, like, we left out the house to go do something. When we came back, it was fucking beans. It was beans from the ceiling to the floor, the whole wall, just beans, okay? Beans all over the floor. Like, my grandma was so hurt because she was already trying to figure out how she was going to feed me for the next, like, 2, 3, 4 days or whatever. Back then, you make a pot of beans and you make that shit work. Okay? And I wasn't a picky eater. Like, my granny trying to feed me, I'm not giving this lady no hard time. But no, I want French fries and the shit these 2020 babies get away with. These little motherfuckers. I ate what was available. Okay? I don't know if anybody, any of you guys grew up in you eat what's available type situation, but I ate what was available. And that day it was beans. And by the end of the day, it wasn't beans because my daddy went poof and threw the beans. And it was beans from the ceiling to the floor. Okay? And my grandma looked so hurt. And she shed a few tears. I still don't remember how she ended up feeding me. I just know it was the end of the month. And it was broke time. Another story, my grandma took me out school shopping for school clothes. And, I came back. And one day, and I'm all excited because I'm going to go in my closet and look. I had like a starter jacket. I remember back then we had like the Reebok Gotta Have It's, and you had all these little certain things, and my grandma managed with her little bit of money to pull it together for me. In the summer she probably stashed a little money each month since I wasn't going to school, but I had school clothes. And then, thanks to my dad, I didn't have no school clothes. He sold them all. And my grandma did not have money to go buy me more school clothes. We didn't have no credit card. She didn't have no another paycheck, none of that. Um, so I started school that year with my same clothes from the year before and the same shoes. So I went to school with old clothes, old shoes. I mean, I wasn't a materialistic kid, but I mean, my feelings was hurt. That's my, I know that's my dad. He don't take care of me or none of that shit, but I know that's my dad. What the fuck? Like, dads are supposed to take care of their kids, right? No bueno. I remember one time me and my grandmother, we had it out because my grandmother was very codependent. If you guys don't know what a codependent is, look it up. That's probably another video I'll do. We'll talk about codependency and how codependency played a role in my household and even how I dealt with it coming up and as an adult in relationships and things like that. Codependency is no joke. That shit is some covert shit that you don't even know that you're dealing with. But, I got that way. Shit, honestly, I was raised in the house with a codependent grandmother with drug addicted children. And I was just in the motherfucker happy to be somebody was taking care of me and trying my best to be good. And I don't know if y'all know about the pressure of trying to be good. But, I mean, I'm thankful for it to a certain degree because I didn't get myself in a lot of trouble. But those pressures, they traumatize you and you carry that shit into your adulthood and you still find yourself trying to be good. And it's very unhealthy. Not saying you should be bad, but that trying to be good shit is unhealthy. It's not good. And so yeah, so basically, just throughout my childhood, things like I remember one time I stuck myself on an insulin needle, which I came to realize it was in my dad's coat pocket. In It was in his coat pocket. In his it was one of his drug needles. Basically, it was in his coat in the closet, and I was in there digging, looking for something, and I stabbed myself, and I was super scared because I don't know if anybody knows this. And my dad, everyone knew, so it wasn't a big deal that everyone knew. But my dad became HIV positive. He had AIDS. He ended up with AIDS, and he died from AIDS-related cancer when it was all said and done. But just knowing that, and I stuck myself with a needle like I'm a kid, like what the fuck? So I was terrified. You know what I'm saying? And my grandma, that was her son. And I know that I meant the world to my grandma. And I just know that through all of this, number one, I didn't end up, HIV positive or anything from sticking myself with a needle or no shit like that. But, I mean, that's just a traumatizing thing to have to process as a child. That's not cool. You know what I mean? And my grandma, I would say, Grandma, he stole my whatever. He stole my shoes, or he stole my bracelet, or he stole, oh, did you see him do it? Come on, Grandma. That was her baby, though. And that's black family shit. It might even be white family shit for all I know. But I know in my family, my grandma, she was going to protect her son. You weren't going to tell her, some of y'all mamas know y'all doing it right now in 2020, raising sons sorry as fuck. Daughters, too. Sorry as hell. Little Moo Moo, he only 8, but guess what? He on his way to sorryhood because he has a parent that's not going to see the wrong and call him on the shit, but is going to protect him and tell other people you can't say that my child has done wrong. My kid don't act like that. Well, my grandmother was that. My grandmother was the version of my kids don't act like that, but your kid's like 50. Well, at the time when I was young, maybe 30 something. But so what? Your kid act like that. And it's affected me. And so it was like I had the best, worst childhood growing up in the house with him. Because my grandmother was there, so it was the best. But it was the worst because my dad was there. And there was a lot of turmoil and a lot of drama. And I could go on and on all day telling you guys about the shit I went through. You know what I mean? You got somebody that's supposed to be your provider and your protector taking from you. You know what I mean? I remember my class ring. He sold it. My auntie, with her wonderful self, she went and got it for me. And, just various other shit. Anything I had that was of value, my daddy stole it and he sold it. And I cried, and my grandma said, "You didn't see him do it. You wasn't holding the candle." I don't know if y'all know what that means, but basically, was you there? That's what that means. And to a kid, that's hurtful. That's like when you know how some of these young girls cry rape or something from their fathers. I mean, from their mother's boyfriends or from their father, and the mother is like, "Stop telling that lie." You know, that type of shit. Like fuck what you going through. Oh, Bentley over here farting again, y'all. But anyway, because I know this is a more serious story, but I'm still gonna be my goofy self regardless. But so basically, by the time I got quite a bit older, I was just angry. I was pissed the fuck off. My house was in turmoil. I went to school and everything was cool. And don't get me wrong, I wasn't. My grandmother did the best she could to take care of me, but you know, there's this thing that says, you know, that I feel like when it comes to everybody involved, all parties involved, who fucked them up, right? So my daddy got these issues that makes him use drugs. I don't know what he lived through. I don't know what his childhood was like. I would like to think it was like mine because his mama raised me, but his mama raised me when she was a retired older woman. So I don't know. I know his dad was an alcoholic. I know that there were other people in the family that were on drugs. So, like I always say, you know, my dad, who fucked him up? And then, you know, my grandma was married to an alcoholic. You know, maybe she was functioning out of guilt or fear or whatever. But once again, when it comes to my grandma and whatever shortcomings she had, who fucked her up, right? So, you know, and I could count backwards, maybe to her parents and their parents. We never know. But it's not until somebody stops and says, okay, somebody fucked me up, so I'm not going to use drugs. I'm not going to drink alcohol. I'm not going to be, just be a raging codependent. And, you know, and I went through all those things. And as an adult, I was very angry as a young adult. And, you know, I remember it came a point where I was so angry, so angry. Me and my grandma didn't talk for about a week. Now, my granny, my best friend, so we not talking? Oh, hell nah. The devil is a lie. Not me and my grandmama. But that's what happened. You know, that's what happened. And I can't change the reality of what happened. But what I do know is I wrote my daddy a letter. And in that letter, I said so many motherfucking mean things. He was in prison at the time. And me and my granny fell out over sending him money that we didn't have. Oh, no. At this time, I had control of the checking account stuff because she couldn't really do her own banking. I'm not finna help you do that, okay? Lady. And I love you. But no. So, I wrote my daddy a letter and I told him, you know, all the ways that I felt about him. Every time I thought about him, my blood pressure rose. I got a headache. Like, he might be the reason why I got high blood pressure at a young age. I don't know, but I was angry. And I wrote him a letter and I told him, you know what? You better hope you die before your mama do, because I don't know who the fuck gonna take care of your sick ass. I wrote my daddy that letter and I told him that I hated him and I wasn't fucking with him. Period. I don't know what you gonna do when you get sicker, but that's your ass. Basically, that's what the letter said. I'm cool on you. And I remember I used to go to this church in Oakland, and I'll go there. And I remember this lady one day, she sat with me in one of the pews, and she said, is there anything you want me to pray with you about? And I'm telling y'all, I think I was so doggone tired already at such a young age of being so upset, so angry. I was probably 20, 21 years old. And I was so already angry, and I just was like, this shit is not fair. And I told her, I said, I want you to pray with me about my daddy. I don't want to hate him no more. That's what I said. And I said, and my prayer is that I don't care if God changes anything about my daddy. He ain't got to change shit about my daddy. He ain't got to take his drug habit away. He don't have to do none of that. I don't want to hate the man. I'm tired of feeling angry. It's exhausting. It's draining. It's unhealthy for me. Now, how I had the wherewithal at such a young age of 20, 21 years old to even understand that, I don't know. I always feel like I was very self-aware and introspective at young. So that was our prayer. And I mean, when I tell y'all, I was on that prayer. I was on that prayer because I did not want to hate that man no more. I don't care if he used drugs the rest of his life. I'm tired of being angry. See, here's where forgiveness comes in. So I promise you, it seemed like the next time I seen him after that, I felt different. Like when I looked at him, I had a what's the word? I had a sympathy for him. I felt sorry for him almost. It was amazing. I didn't hate him. That anger didn't come over me. It did not come over me. I did not. I just looked at him and I felt sorry for him. I did. I was like, what do it feel like to have a kid in this world and know they don't like you? And know you didn't do your job? And so, over the years, the next few years, our interaction, it wasn't like no amazing automatic shit, but little by little, I ended up moving to a salon over in the Crest area, for those of you who are familiar, and he happened to live around the corner. And I remember one day he came home from jail, and I called him and I told him I wanted to talk to him. And I went over to the house where he was at, and we had a talk, and I told him exactly how I felt, and my daddy cried. He cried, and he apologized and told me he didn't know how to be a dad, and he told me that he did the best thing he knew how to do, which was give me to his mama. And I couldn't be mad at that. And some more healing took place. I had something at that point. And so then as time went on some more, he would come around to the salon where I worked at, and the ladies would be like, oh, your dad stopped by. And I'm just like, oh, And he would come there and ask me if I was hungry, and he just had a little bit of money. He got a little public assistance, and so he would buy me a sandwich from King's Market, or he'd take my towels and wash them and fold them for me, or sometimes he would come and wait for me to get off work at night, and he would just make sure I got my car safe. And then, he would talk to me here and there. Sometimes he'd come in and say, can you cut my hair? He'd bring his own clippers because, I told you about his situation with him having AIDS. And, so that was the little relationship that we began to build. It was very little. It was what he could do. It was what I could do. It was what we could make as adults with all this negative history behind us. And, but I was open to it. You see, you got to be open. Because, it's funny. I had a, what's it called, a fortune cookie around here. Where that shit go? I don't know. But I'll tell you what the fortune said. The fortune said, don't dwell on things you can't change, which is funny for this situation because that's what you got to do. For the forgiveness, you can't dwell on shit you can't change. You just got to be open to the possibility of a better tomorrow. And you can't look at forgiving a person as letting them off the hook. Trust me, they will never be off the hook. Inside of themselves, they'll never be off the hook. In their own hearts, in their own minds, they will never be off the hook. You can let yourself off the hook from having to hold them responsible. And that's what I did. I let myself off the hook from having to hold my dad responsible. And it began to open up, something. And so, basically, we, like I said, formed a little relationship. And one morning, he came into the salon early in the morning, 7-something in the morning. And I was there by myself, waiting on my client. And he knocked on the door, and I let him in. And he said, hey. And I said, hey. And he was like, I'm sick. And I was like, yeah, we all know you sick. He said, no, I'm very sick. And he began to show me his lymph nodes here and under his arms and in his groin area. And he said, I'm very sick. He said, I have lymphoma. And I said, oh, you going to be all right? Because I was convinced of that, because I'm thinking to myself, now I know I didn't get to forgive my dad and start to build a relationship with somebody who I only told y'all a little bit of the shit that I dealt with from birth, living in the same house with him, as him being a for real drug addict, like not a game, right? And I'm building this relationship with him. I just know full well that God is not about to take my dad from me. That's, I ain't even worried about that. Whatever. So I'm like, nah, you gonna be fine. So he ends up going, into the hospital, and he told me he didn't think he would make it. And long story short, he didn't make it. And I'm gonna tell y'all something. It was a relief that in such a timely fashion that I had the wherewithal to reach out to my higher power and ask my God to relieve me of the duties that I put on myself to hold my dad responsible for how he did not parent his children, how he chose to some degree to be a drug addict, even though, as I understand drugs and the nature of addictions, a lot of it is not a choice. A lot of it's not a choice. So, my dad died knowing that I did not hate him. And I died knowing that if he could have done better, I believe from the bottom of my heart, my dad would have done better. And my dad was a basically good dude that had a bad problem, like most people in the world. I know we like to make people, oh, let me stretch my legs out. I know we like to make people bad or evil, or say that they're just canceled and they cannot be brought back from the depths of the horror that they have done. But everybody's not deserving of that. And if you have a forgiving spirit, you could have an outcome that is way better than the outcome you could ever imagine. I know some of you got these awesome dads. Well, I had a dad that bought me sandwiches. I had a dad that did my laundry at the shop. I had a dad that would allow me to cut his hair. I had a dad that I only had those few, bonding moments with him later in life, but yet and still right on time, because it was before it was too late. And I urge y'all, if there's somebody in your life, especially somebody in a role as important as a parent, you don't know their story. And oftentimes we make people bad, but you have to remember, for everybody who's fucked up, that do fucked up things, you gotta go back take it back another level and say, who fucked this individual up? Who gave them, who affected their lives? Who lacked in their lives? Who did terrible things to them? Where did they learn this from? Now, don't get me wrong. Some people they might really be wired bad, but that's not everybody. And I know that wasn't my dad. And when he died, he was at peace. I was at peace. So that's a story time for tonight about the power of forgiveness. When I looked at my dad laying there, he was at peace after many, many years of being sick. He was sick. I found out he had AIDS when I was in the 9th grade. He passed away a few weeks after my 26th birthday. He and I only got in that forgiveness portion when I was about 21 to 26 years old. So what is that, about 5 years? And for me, that was more than enough, because I did not have to let my dad go to the other side, believing that I hated him and I was angry with him, because trust me, I truly was. But when you are willing, anything can be removed from you. Anything. So All right, you guys. I'm gonna let this one go for now. I hope you guys are enjoying my videos. Like I told you guys, I'm gonna pour out my life. I always tell myself that if everything that I've been through could help someone else, then I feel less picked on by the universe. Because some shit, you would just be like, this shit is just not fair. But sometimes it's not about whether this shit is fair or not. Because if everything in life was fair and if everything in life was good, life wouldn't be life. It would just probably be pretty mundane after a little while. These ups and these downs, they make us, they build us, they give us character. I know some people say, I don't need to be built any further, trust me. I know. But I hope you guys tune back in. More to come. I'm leaving Vegas tomorrow. I might do another video tonight. I might do one in the morning. I might do some on the way home. I don't know what I'm going to do. But I just know I love y'all. And thank you for supporting and being here with me. And I'm going to keep it going, okay? Peace, peace, my loves. And like this video. If you can, share it. Make sure you subscribe to my channel. And turn on the notification button so you don't miss anything. Okay? I love y'all. Peace. Don't forget to hit the notification button. Love y'all.